Today is Wednesday, May 27th, and it has been months since I've told you one of Brian's bad jokes. I just kind of feel the need now. Remember, I call these bad jokes for a reason. Okay, here he goes. A man got to talking with a Christian once, and after a little while, this man realized that the Christian was perhaps not the sharpest tool in the shed, and being uncharitable by nature, this man began to bombard this Christian with all kinds of questions about deep theology and history and things most people would just not know off the top of their head. And when the man thought that he had this Christian reeling, he went in for the kill. And he said, "How can you worship God? Can you even tell me God's name?" And the Christian brightened up and said, "Yeah, his name's Andy." And the man said, "What?" And the Christian said, "Like the song. Andy walks with me, Andy talks with me, Andy tells me I am his own." Told you they were bad jokes. Well, today I want to talk about the song "In the Garden." This is a song that invites us into God's presence. It encourages us to walk and talk with the Lord. And I like the fact that this song uses a garden as an analogy for God's presence. There's all kinds of ways that we could talk about God's presence. I've heard people compare God's presence to being up on a mountain or walking through a valley. I've heard approaching God's presence compared to entering a sanctuary or going to the foot of the cross. And all of those have their specific and very real value. But I think the garden is the most versatile metaphor for God's presence. The garden is a place of peace. I think that's what we think of first. When we talk about walking with God in the garden, we are thinking of being at peace in the Lord. But the garden is so much more than that. The garden is also a place of joy, like the Garden of Eden. In the 3rd chapter of Genesis, there's a short note that says something about this. After Adam and Eve had eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, but before God condemned them for that sin, God came to the garden, walking in the cool of the day. I think this gives us just a little hint of what was supposed to happen. God didn't come to condemn Adam and Eve. He came to walk with them in the garden in the cool of the day. He came to rejoice with them and have them rejoice in His presence. That is the garden, to know the joy of the Lord. But then, right before His execution, Jesus was in a different garden. He was in the Garden of Gethsemane. He was overwhelmed by stress, and he prayed, "Father, take this cup from me." When we are at our worst, when we are overwhelmed with stress and fear and anxiety, we can go to the garden. We can go to the garden to meet the God who comforts us, the God who sees us and knows our struggles. The garden is a place where we find the comfort of the Lord. Really, the only question is, will we go to the garden? Will we accept this invitation? The God of the universe, Jesus Christ, the one true God, has invited us into His presence to walk with Him and talk with Him in the garden. Will we accept the invitation? Will we spend time in prayer and Bible study and fasting and meditation and celebration and worship and solitude with God alone? This song begins with the words, "I come to the garden alone." Will we go to the garden alone to spend time with a living God? May God be with you, and I'll see you tomorrow.